I got some ideas, I got some pals, let's get together and pitch some games. Alright, Nintendo Wars, or, as it is known over here, Advance Wars. So this is a series that started off in 1990, no, of course not, 1988 on the Nintendo system. It was called the Famicom Wars, which you can understand why it was called the Famicom Wars. And the sequel, 3 years after that, was Game Boy Wars, followed by Game Boy Wars Turbo, Basically, all these things were named after the system they were on. And the first one we got was in 2001.
Yeah, I remember the advanced ones.
Yeah. And after that, it transformed, after the DS ones, it went to Battalion Wars, which didn't make sense. So, I mean, they've been going for it for quite a long time, and then they're just like, ah, fuck it.
Fuck
after they just kept with, I mean, what would you call it? It would, I mean, they did a little play on words when they went to the Nintendo DS. There was Advance Wars Dual Strike. But what would you, I mean, would they call it Dual Screen Wars? That just sounds stupid. So, I guess if they just wanted to start with Advance Wars since it became popular over here, they're like, yeah, let's not confuse anybody anymore. So yeah. But yes, this series, it's kind of like an RTS crossed with Fire Emblem. Now, it's made by the same studio, Intelligent Systems, which makes the Fire Emblem series. So, that said, it is brutally hard. And for those who don't know, you can watch, obviously, the videos happening now. But basically, you are in charge, most of the games, of a ragtag group of individuals, either a rebellion or some kind of small army. And you're fighting like big empires or big battles and stuff like that. And what you do is you have like a factory or something like that you make these, you send up platoon units from this factory and you gather materials to make said people. So again, like an RTS. And then you go against other people. So like Fire Emblem, you take your warriors against other warriors. Some warriors are better than others. Like, I believe tanks are good against planes or something like that. But yeah, it's super hard just because there's no you have no love for anybody in the game. You know, it's all created from these factories, so there's no like actual people that you know besides the commander that's in charge of everything. So if you lose people, it's like, oh, you lost people. It's really frustrating though because the battles can just drag on forever. Again, just like an RTS, just because, you know, whatever. So basically they shrunk it down to a more console size where it's manageable. And, you know, it works pretty well, but they are beyond even my control. I have tried Advance Wars 2, Black Hole Rising, and I've tried Dual Strike, and I love the art style in Dual Strike. And I tried Days of Ruin, and it just, every single time, it just gets me. It is so freaking hard. I can't, but I mean, I am not good at RTSs in general. If you give me an option to make like 10 to 12 different designs for my warriors, and there's like a infographic on each is what's good against what, I don't know which way to go because I just don't know how to resource manage, and that's why I just don't, you know, play that many PC games. Perhaps if I played StarCraft or Warcraft back in the day, maybe it would be better at this game, but for me, they're just not for me. I really want to get into them, and I've tried so many times, and I just can't. I am just terrible at these games.
I think I've always confused these with another game, Metal Slug. I was gonna like try and like prod the name out of you, but I remembered it finally.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was a weird transition. It reminds me of some other game, Metal Slug.
That's because I finally remembered what I was trying to think of. I think I've always confused Advance Wars as part of being a part of the Metal Slug series.
They are not, but aesthetically, they're actually pretty close, I would say. Whereas that one's a side-scrolling, more like a Contra kind of thing. But,
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, ideas for this game. Well, as we talked about for Fire Emblem, the reason why Awakening was my favorite is because they...
Forgiveness.
Yes, they said, hey guys, if you want to play like these games have always been, go for it. But if you want to be, you know, if you don't have that much time to dedicate yourself to this game, you want an easier ride, and you want to experience the story, here you go. And you can tailor your own pace that you want, change it, whatever. They should do that with this game series too.
Well, they also, the big breakthrough with the newest Fire Emblem was that you can make your own person for once.
I thought you could design your character in some of the other games.
Alright. I would speaking from experience because the last one I played was back during the Game Boy Advance days.
But what you said is kind of true, where I don't think your character ever had dialogue before. It was always like, you're the commander of the army, and you make the decisions, and they mention your name every once in a while, but you never have a place in the story. It's always like, what are you going to do, commander? This one, you're actually like, you are the commander, but you're also like on the battlefield, and you can do whatever. So, yeah. But I would say the big breakthrough is obviously the difficulty thing, and other things.
Yeah.
In general, Awakening was a huge break for the series, and as like a 3DS game with like the downloadable battles and stuff like that, and it's still the best implementation of what the 3DS is like capable of, in my opinion. Just in terms of spot passing and all that cool stuff. So the last game was Days of Ruin for the DS in 2008. 2008, man. It has been a long time, and you know, Intelligent System is done with Fire Emblem right now, so they can, you know, in the foreseeable future, maybe they are making a Advance Wars. Like I said, after all, they made a huge hit with Fire Emblem. They're like, you know what, maybe we should just go back and make that. But, as you know, as we're both excited about, they're making Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem right now for the Wii U. So, it's possible that they could split up into different teams. But
kind of go a Squenix route with how they separate their game teams.
Well, they have tons of studios like that where they have, you know, 2 different teams working on stuff. So that's actually not just a Square Enix thing. It's actually pretty common nowadays to have multiple studios. But
company,
right? And I'm not sure actually how big it is. I think they usually just have one thing happening at a time, but I definitely would like to see a new Advance Wars, and I'd like to get into the series, but you know, maybe just have it. I hate arguing to the fact that it's like, this game is too hard, make it easy for me. But I think you can adjust the balance in different ways without making it necessarily easier for. I said, if you give it the option, what's the harm in giving it an option? Right. For people that just don't have time to dedicate yourself, or they just couldn't play any of these games before, you know?
Yeah.
In terms of ideas where they want to set it, I have no ideas. I have no opinions on that. I just think adjusting the balance and stuff like that would be pretty great. And I think they should keep the whole RTS thing. Because, I mean, they could go the route where it's like, oh, maybe you have certain units that are like a tank unit or whatever, and you give them like a character, but then you would just be basically being Fire Emblem, but with tanks and stuff. So they should definitely stick to what it's going for with the whole RTS thing and creating stuff. But, you know, again, difficulty.
I think if they went a Fire Emblem route,
I think it would be cool.
You could
for
make
sure.
your own battalions, and
True.
you can customize those battalions. And then when you get into the bigger fights, then you get to coordinate. Well, 3 or 4 of my guys have to go and do the planes, and 3 or 4 get to be the tanks, and then the rest get to be infantry. So you could break up your battalion that way.
I can see that. I think that might upset people, but I think I'd be up for that for sure.
You could get into more trudging kind of warfare, maybe
trench warfare.
Yeah,
World War II. You know, they could make this into a Nintendo battle. Where it's like you're gearing up your Yoshis and you're making them fight the champ. Oh no, actually like Goombas. So Goombas against what's an infantry?
Toads.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is an infantry's type that is of the Nintendo universe? And yeah, there's tons of Toads, tons of Goombas. So, oh my gosh, it doesn't even necessarily have to be called Fire Emblem. But if Intelligent Systems made like a war game with toads and Goombas, that'd be so cute. I mean, you can give
Toads
them
are the pretties of Nintendo.
Yeah, you can give them rocket launchers and stuff like that, but you can cutesy it up where it's...
so many
Because, you know,
jokes.
they make stuff like that. You know, like Plants vs. Zombies, that's super cute, and it's just, you know, playful.
And now that game is actually getting a new, like, upgrade.
Yeah, they had a spin-off on Xbox 360 and Xbox One. And,
and you can choose which side you want to be on. You can be on the Goomba side.
Oh my god, I want this game. Holy crap.
And you can be on the Toad side.
Hey, it's me, it's Toad!
Give him the old animated series voice.
But Mario! Hey, listen!
That's what he's... Haven't you ever played New Super Mario Brothers on the Wii? He sounds like that.
Hey!
He gets trapped in the bubble. That'll be the Commander Toad. He would have this guy.
Hey! I've seen some shit in my day. Do you know how many times I've been kidnapped and put in the shoe?
He's got to have that line from Tommy Boy when, you know, and the ambulance driver comes up and he gets out of his car and, oh my god. And the other guy's just throwing up.
Oh, yeah, that was that was a great idea. Was it your idea or was it my idea? I can't remember whose idea it was. I'll take credit for it.
It probably was yours.
It was
I don't even remember.
It was
a true collaboration.
It was a true collaboration. Just like this would be a true collaboration. Whatever. And I get, you know what? It could be just a tower defense game if they really want to simplify it. If they wanted to make like a downloadable game for the 3DS eShop where, you know, you're Toads and you're making them do specific things to defend against the Goombas. So, you know, we talked about Mario. Where's Peach? Where's the new Peach game? But you know what? Maybe Toad should get his own game.
Yeah, maybe it's time for Toad.
Toads. Or what? It's so weird that it's Toad, but that's Toad. Which one's Toad?
Toad?
They're all Toads.
They are all Toads.
It's just like a
Nintendo.
They should make a Smurfs Toad game.
Oh god.
I just toad all over my toad. Shut your toad.
Hey, don't tell me to toad myself. I'll toad you.
I look like a giant dick. I mean, I look like a giant toad. Man, did you see Daisy bending over the other day? I want to put my toad in her toad and toad all over her toad. Whoa, dude.
That's totally Toad much.
Boy, on that note.
Boom, ba-jack, boom, boom, ba-jack, boom, ba-jack, boom, boom, ba-jack, boom, ba-jack, boom, boom, ba-jack, boom, ba-jack, boom, boom, subscribe, boom, ba-jack, boom, boom, ba-jack, boom, ba-jack, boom, boom, ba-jack, boom, ba-jack, boom, boom, ba-jack, boom, ba-jack, boom, boom, subscribe.